So, good morning. With yesterday's theme being so extremely strong and powerful, I decided to, like these chili plants, I decided to just quickly get up early in the morning. It's Sunday morning before church, and say that actually in my own Bible reading, not in these videos, I'm in the Gospels reading about Jesus's sacrifice, and his sacrifice was on the cross to save us all. Thanks be to God. But nevertheless, we'll carry on with starting with this old pagan times in the Bible, because people rightly look up to it as the historical beginnings of the faith in Jesus, what led to Jesus, and what, even though Jesus is more powerful than this, it still led up to Jesus, and it still helps as a story make sense of God's forgiveness through Jesus' sacrifice, a good person, allowing our anger, the anger of our sin, the world's sin, to destroy Jesus, to come back to life, to laugh at us, to say, look, ha ha ha, I can conquer death. God is life. And Jesus said, I can have life in me. And after Jesus did this, he said, I will be with you all the time to share this life-giving message. But anyway, we're starting right from the beginning. So this is, where the three angels appeared to, or they came walking as three men walking up to Abraham's tent, wherever he lived. The sanctuary, maybe a pagan sanctuary like a stone circle that we have in the UK. It's something devoted to God, an unknown God, like John Steinbeck's book, just worshipping a God of creation who gives and takes away life, and we're all like the ants struggling to survive, that sort of God, that they believed in, a pagan God of life and death. So Abraham had said, let me send for some water so that you may wash your feet and rest under a tree, and let me fetch a little food so that you may refresh yourselves. So it feels like it's a hot country there, doesn't it? Afterwards, they need to get some shade under the tree after walking a long way. Afterwards you may continue the journey which has brought you my way. So he's really happy, isn't he? He's got this happy sort of feeling inside the way the words are written about Abraham. For me, that's the faith in Christ, in Jesus, in God. And Abraham seems to have had that before Jesus. He seems happy all the time. Even he laughed when God said he'd still have a child, but it sounds like a cynical laugh to me. But Isaac means laugh. Anyway, they said, do by all means as you say. So Abraham hurried into the tent to Sarah and said, take 3 measures of flour, quickly, knead it and make some cakes. Then Abraham ran to the cattle, chose a fine tender calf, and gave it to a servant. So he knew that they were angels or something. Otherwise he wouldn't be getting all this food. Then Abraham ran to the cattle, chose a fine tender calf, and gave it to a servant. Don't know who that servant is. Who hurriedly prepared it. He took curds and milk and the calf he had prepared, set it before them, and waited on them himself under the tree while they ate. They asked him where Sarah, his wife, was, and he said, there in the tent. The stranger said, "About this time next year I will be sure to come back to you, and Sarah your wife shall have a son." Now Sarah was listening at the opening of the tent, and he was close beside it. Both Abraham and Sarah had grown very old, and Sarah was past the age of childbearing. So Sarah laughed to herself and said, "I am past bearing children now that I am out of my time, and my husband is old." The Lord said to Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh and say, 'Shall I indeed bear a child when I am old?' Is anything impossible for the Lord? In due season I will come back to you, about this time next year." So it seems, I remember reading this many, like 20 years, 15 years ago, and thinking, God, this is not very, I didn't really read it in a happy way, but I was told to try and look at it positively and take the positive bits out of it. So I have been. I don't know whether it's my background being in Christianity, so I have to dig deeper. I don't know, but it could be. It sounds positively the way I'm reading it now. So this is the reason I'm doing a study of the Bible, is so that we look at these words positively and not negatively, because you can get anything out of them, because it's only a story, but it's the most powerful story in the world. We better get it right, and that's the reason we're doing this. In due season I will come back to you, about this time next year, and Sarah shall have a son. Sarah lied because she was frightened and denied that she had laughed. But he said, "Yes, you did laugh." I think that's just sort of natural, gentle, "Oh no, I didn't do that." And he said, "Yes, you did laugh," So it's all very happy, the conversation, and Sarah is being all very innocent. The men, it's a moment of authority and innocence under leadership of the angels. The men set out and looked down towards Sodom, and Abraham went with them to start them on their way. The Lord thought to himself, "Shall I conceal from Abraham what I intend to do? He will become a great and powerful nation, and all nations on earth will pray to be blessed as he is blessed. I have taken care of him on purpose that he may charge his sons and family after him." I'm going to read the whole thing now, because I'm tired of talking. "I have taken care of him on purpose that he may charge his sons and family after him to conform," obey, to stick on the path, to obey, to be within the right way, conform to him, to conform to the way of the Lord, and to do what is right and just. Just is an old word for fair, like justice. What is right and just. Thus I shall fulfill all that I have promised for him. So the Lord said, "There is a great outcry over Sodom and Gomorrah. Their sin is very grave." That's bad. Grave means bad. Seriously bad. Very grave. "I must go down and see whether their deeds warrant the outcry which has reached me." So it must be a spiritual feeling, the atmosphere coming out of that city. "I am resolved to know the truth." When the men turned and went towards Sodom, Abraham remained standing before the Lord. Abraham drew near him and said, so if the men have gone and the Lord is still there, then all the time the Lord must have been somebody in front of him, like in the Garden of Eden. Abraham drew near him and said, "Wilt thou really sweep away good and bad together?" So Abraham feels that there's an impression that God's going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah already. And we know the story that he does. "Suppose there are 50 good men in the city. Wilt thou really sweep it away, and not pardon the place because of the 50 good men? Far be it from thee to do this, to kill good and bad together. For then the good would suffer with the bad. Far be it from thee. Shall not the judge of all the earth do what is just?" The Lord said, If I find in the city of Sodom 50 good men, I will pardon the whole place for their sake. So this is the first time we learn, all of us learn when we read this, that God can change his mind if we talk to God. And it's a weird thing if God's the boss, the authority over all, the creator of all. So we see it now as a mature Christian, that it's teaching us, God, by giving us the chance to question and learn and to shout our opinion. He's stimulating a way of learning, but not stimulating in a bad way, in a good way, like a teacher to his class. Abraham replied, so the Lord said, if I find in the city of Sodom 50 good men, I will pardon the whole place for their sake. Abraham replied, may I presume to speak to the Lord, dust and ashes that I am? Suppose that there are 5 short of the 50 good men. Wilt thou destroy the whole city for a mere 5 men? He said, if I find 45 there, I will not destroy it. Abraham spoke again. Suppose 40 can be found there. And he said, for the sake of 40, I will not do it. Then Abraham said, please do not be angry, O Lord, if I speak again. Suppose 30 can be found there. He answered, if I find 30 there, I will not do it. Abraham continued, may I presume to speak to the Lord? Suppose 20 can be found there. He replied, for the sake of the 20, I will not destroy it. Abraham said again, I pray thee not to be angry, O Lord. So he's going on and on and on, is Abraham. And fair enough. O Lord, if I pray thee not be angry, O Lord, if I speak just once more. Suppose 10 can be found there. He said, the Lord said, must have been. He said, for the sake of the 10, I will not destroy it. When the Lord had finished talking with Abraham, he left him, and Abraham returned home. And we know what happens. There must be less than 10 people, and God must have knew all along. What a story. God bless, have a great day, and just be excited for the next section of the story, and don't read anything now from this pagan times, because now we're in Jesus' times.